You are in the middle of a perfect moment. The sky is doing that unrealistic sunset thing. It got sponsored by a filter app. Your friends are laughing at something stupid. The music is good. For a second, your body actually feels present, like, oh, this is nice. And then the thought hits you. Should I be filming this? You freeze for half a breath, not because of the beauty, but because you are suddenly stressed about angles. You are half enjoying it and half directing it. You are not just in the moment. You are auditioning for it. Welcome back to Simply Chaos, the channel for people who cannot tell if they are living their life or accidentally running a 24/7 content channel called Me Incorporated. Today, we are talking about the audience trap, also known as why your life feels fake even when nothing is technically wrong. Because somewhere along the way, you stopped being a person and quietly became a performer for an invisible crowd that may or may not even be watching. Let us start with the uncomfortable part. You do not do things just to do them anymore. You go to a cute coffee shop and your first instinct is not, I wonder how this tastes. It is that tiny little voice going, this would look so good on my story. You stand in front of a view, and instead of just letting your eyes touch it, you are mentally cropping it to 9:16. You are not just living, you are running a full-time content audit in your head. Is this outfit postable? Is this trip impressive enough? Is this date aesthetic? If I share this, will people think my life is moving forward, or will I look stuck? And if something beautiful happens but no one gets a photo, it almost feels like it did not fully count. You tell yourself you are just capturing memories, but be honest. Sometimes it feels less like memories and more like marketing. You are the main character, right? You see the posts, romantic little photo dumps, chaotic-eyed out slideshows, soft life vlogs with you walking in slow motion from the kitchen to the couch with a candle for no reason. You hear the audio over and over, romanticize your life, be the star of your own movie, do it for the plot. It sounds empowering until you realize you are exhausted. Because being the main character is not just a cute idea, it has quietly become a job. You are not just trying to have a life that feels good from the inside. You are trying to have a life that would get good engagement if someone else watched it. You do not just pick a job. You pick a job that looks like something you can brag about in a caption. You do not just decorate your room. You decorate your room for the wide-angle back camera. You do not. You heal in beige, with a mug and a book and a blanket thrown at exactly the right angle so it could be a cover image at any moment. If a moment cannot be turned into content, it feels less valuable. If a habit cannot be aesthetic, it feels less worth doing. If a feeling cannot be packaged into a 30-second reel with a trending sound, it feels irrelevant. That is the audience economy. You do not live for yourself. You live for the imagined reaction of people who will scroll past you in less than a second. And here's the worst part. The audience is mostly in your own head. Yes, there are real followers, friends, people who see your stuff, but the loudest crowd is invented, a mashup of people from high school, your ex, that girl from work, the creator you secretly compare yourself to, and a few random strangers you made up. They sit in a fake stadium in your mind, rating everything you do. You cook a normal dinner and your brain goes boring. You go out on a random weeknight and your brain goes, this would be such a fun montage. You cry alone in your room and your brain, which should be comforting you, whispers this would go hard with the right sound. You are not insane. Your brain has been trained on this. You grew up watching people turn their lives into content. Daily vlogs where brushing teeth has background music and a soft fade. Study with me videos where homework looks cinematic. Couples who turn their relationship into a product launch. So now, when you live your own life, your mind does not say, I am here. It says, where are the cameras? There is another side to it too. Likes and comments are not just numbers. Your nervous system reads them as proof that you exist, that you matter, that someone somewhere sees you. When a post does well, you feel a tiny hit of relief. When it flops, you feel weirdly embarrassed, like you invited people to a party and no one came. You tell yourself you do not care about the numbers, but you still check. You still wonder what it means that this version of you got more attention than that version of you. You still feel the sting when someone else posts the same kind of thing and gets 10 times the response. You are not just asking, do people like my photo? You are asking, do people like my character? Is this persona I am playing landing well with the crowd? And slowly, almost without noticing, you start tweaking the script. You show the funny breakdown, but not the ugly one. You show the cute loneliness, not the hollow kind where you stare at the wall and feel nothing. You show the progress photos, not the nights you seriously considered giving up. It is not that you are lying, you are curating, smoothing the edges, making sure the mess is still pretty. The sadness is digestible. The chaos is entertaining. Because in the audience economy, raw pain without aesthetic is just awkward. But pain with good lighting is relatable content. Here's the part that stings. If your life is always a show, you never get to fully be off stage. You never get to be the version of yourself that does not test well. The unlikable thoughts, the boring afternoons, the friendships that do not fit neatly into a cute bestie frame. You start living in third person. You are both the character and the director and the comment section at the same time. No wonder you are tired. So what do you do with this besides spiral? First, you name it. You admit to yourself that some of your choices have not been about joy or curiosity or genuine desire. They have been about optics. You went to that event because it would look cool to be there, even though you were socially drained before you even got dressed. You stayed in that situationship because it made you feel like at least the story of your love life was interesting, even if the actual experience was miserable. You chased experiences that looked incredible on a highlight reel but felt oddly empty from inside your own body. That is not you being shallow. That is you being raised inside an attention economy. Second, you start noticing the moments that feel wrong in your bones. Like when you pull out your phone automatically in the middle of laughing with your friends and something inside you flinches. Or when you are doing something you love and catch yourself thinking this would do numbers and the thought slightly spoils the joy. That flinch is important. It is the part of you that remembers life before everything had to be witnessed. Third, you experiment with being deeply uninteresting on purpose. You let yourself have a night that is not photogenic, a walk where you do not take a single picture, a meal that never gets documented, a crying session that does not become a monologue. Not because those things are bad to share, but because you need proof that they are still real even if no one knows. You let yourself look ridiculous off camera, dance in a way that is not charming, wear something that does not match, cook a meal that is ugly but satisfying, tell a joke that lands only in the room you are actually in. Your worth has to survive low engagement. This is simply chaos. So yes, this is the part where I say, if this is hitting a little too hard, you know what to do. Like the video, leave a comment about the wildest thing you only did because it would look good online, and subscribe so we can keep bullying the modern world together in long form. But also, after you do all that creator support stuff, maybe put the phone down for a minute. Let one small moment today be completely undocumented on purpose. Here is a hard question. If no one ever saw your life again, if every app quietly deleted itself tomorrow, what parts of your day would you still keep? Who would you still talk to? What would you still wear? Where would you still go? Would you still try that hobby if you knew you would never be good enough at it to show anyone? Would you still travel to that place if you could not post from there? Would you still pursue that relationship if no one ever commented couple goals underneath a photo of you two? When you strip away the imaginary audience, what is left is the actual you, not the brand, not the main character persona, just a person, waking up, doing their little tasks, feeling their little feelings, sometimes thinking big thoughts, mostly just trying not to crumble. That person deserves a life that feels good from the inside, even if it looks repetitive from the outside. Maybe the real rebellion is not deleting every app and disappearing into the forest. Maybe it is smaller than that. Maybe it is choosing one thing every now and then that is just for you. A secret playlist, a walk route no one knows, a story you never post about, a joke that lives only in your group chat, a project you work on slowly without turning it into a public journey. Not everything has to be shareable to be real. Not everything has to be optimized to be worthy. Not everything has to have a narrative arc that makes sense to strangers. You are allowed to have phases that do not photograph well. You're allowed to have hobbies you are bad at. You're allowed to have friendships that are precious and completely invisible to the internet. You're allowed to have days that would get 0 views and still count them as a life. The algorithm does not love you. It does not hate you. It does not even know you exist. It is just a machine that rewards things that keep people scrolling. If you build your entire identity around pleasing that machine, you will always feel a little hollow because you were never meant to be consumed. You were meant to be here, breathing, existing, Being weird, being kind, being wrong, being alive, you are not a channel. You are a person who sometimes posts. So here is your tiny homework from one chaos brain to another. The next time you catch yourself thinking this would make great content, pause. Let the thought float by. Then, just for a moment, decide that maybe the coolest thing about this part of your life is that nobody gets to see it but you. If that idea makes your brain glitch, congratulations. You just found the edge of the audience trap. Step back from it a little. This is simply chaos. If you are tired of feeling like the unpaid social media manager of your own existence, if you have ever replayed a memory and realized you remember how it looked on your story more than how it felt in your body, this episode was for you. You can still film. You can still post. You can still make art out of your life. Just do not forget there is a version of you who is allowed to live even when no one is watching.